So that was the first sign. I was like, huh, this guy's actually onto something, right? Like he actually knows what he's talking about. So what's up, guys? My name's Luke. I am now a pro Rocket League coach. I've coached over 200 players up until this point, everywhere from bronze to SSL. And I make these videos because a lot of people suck at Rocket League. And my goal is for you to not be one of them. So let's get into this. I talked with a current pro Rocket League player, an A-tier Rocket League player who plays for one of the top 8 RLCS teams currently in NA. And today I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a behind the scenes look that I was privileged enough to get access to, that I know a lot of people out there would really value. And I'm hoping to relay a little bit of information to those of you who will value it on what goes on behind the scenes when it comes to the highest level of esports and what it actually takes to be pro. My goal with this video is to cover 3 main questions. I want to hit, how do you get started if you want to become pro? Number 2, what kind of person do you have to be to become pro? This is interesting. We'll talk about it later. And then number 3, is it worth it to go pro? And the way we're going to answer this is I'm actually going to talk a little bit on his journey and how he got to this point. Now, warning for privacy purposes, because he wasn't able to get his org's permission for me to name him in this video, the player that I talked to is going to remain anonymous. So going forward, once I get his permission, I'm sure I'll be making a follow-up video revealing his identity. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not already, and hit post notifications to be notified when that video goes live. My dream is to one day be able to do this full time. So if you haven't yet, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. You can always unsub whenever you want. Also, I'm really excited because we just passed 200 members inside my private coaching program, the Grand Champ Roadmap. So loyal subs know, if you're 18 plus years old and you're interested in getting coached by me, head down to the description below and DM me the word pro on Discord for more info. Anyways, let's go behind the scenes and talk about my interview with this top 8 RLCS mystery player. But okay, 3 questions I want to answer from my conversations with this guy. First one is, how do you get started if you want to become pro? And this is something that I was actually shocked after I talked with him. I was expecting to talk to him and for him to tell me, look, you know, I've been playing the game for 6 years since it dropped in 2015. I've been grinding like 6 to 8 hours a day. And that's like actually not what he said at all. So I was really shocked when he said this. I said, before that, could you take me like 6 weeks before that, the switch? What did it look like that?
And at that time, I basically only played like 2 hours a day, and those 2 hours were my team scrims. And the rest of the day, I was in university, so I did that stuff, and then I did my scrims. That's it.
I was like, 2 hours? You only played for 2 hours? And he was like, yeah.
It's honestly just like the same things over and over. Like I would not play like ranked threes. Like that's just something you should stay away from.
Wait, expand on that before you go any further.
Ranked threes, trying to find a way to describe it. Just, it doesn't prepare you for like the real situations that you're gonna deal with in tournaments and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That's why when people that grind leaderboards in threes, like there's a reason most of them aren't pro players. It's because it's a game mode that teaches you bad habits, I think.
Really? That's interesting. Yeah. And so what I was realizing, like, as I was talking to this player, is like, he was not the type who just, you know, was gifted from the start and just grinded the game, right? All day, every day, 8 hours a day and went pro. No, he was like, he has hours built up now, but at the start, he's telling me, yeah, I just did it on the side.
So actually, that grind started after season of RLCS, and season of RLCS went really poorly for my team, like our first season there. And after it went like super poorly, I realized like we actually got relegated, so we got sent to the baby league, and then something just happened in my brain. I was like, you know what, this is a cool opportunity. I'm gonna actually try to grind and get better.
Because that's like what people don't understand. I'm sure your rise to being a pro player wasn't just tearing up the scene from, you know, 50 hours to when you had 7K hours, or you're sitting right now. How many setbacks did you have to face?
So let's see, probably like 3 major ones. Like 2 of them were when I got relegated from the pro league. So first time in season, and the second time in season. And after season it was the hardest one because my team we disbanded, so I had to make a decision. It was either like quit Rocket League and just go back to college, or basically try to find a new team, like another pro team that wants to pick me up. So I had tons of tryouts with like teams like, and the one with ended up going really well. So they picked me up then, and I don't know. I stayed with them for like 3 seasons. It was great, and then I got dropped from that roster like after season. So that was another setback. I had to ask myself, like, is this something I still want to keep doing? I don't know. I just keep treading along, I guess. I don't know.
And everything he said just came off a little bit unexpected for me, because I don't know why. Just going into the conversations, I had like some ideas of what I expected him to say, but like he consistently was not saying what I expected him to say. And this is the second question he helped me answer. So I was trying to figure out, like, what kind of person do you have to be to become pro? You followed the strategy of kind of scaling it up step by step. And one day you're putting this many hours, the next day you're putting in this many hours, and over time that grew. What were the signs you looked for? And like what were the indicators that like maybe you see now in a player and you're like, yes, this is a sign they could get there? Or for example, what's a red flag?
I mean, red flags are always like players that won't adapt. You know, when I don't know, either a pro player or a better player is just telling them a fault in their game, like through, I don't know, replay review, or just maybe you're just SSL and you play against pros sometimes, and I don't know, you ask them for tips. Like people that don't adapt, like there's players like, for example, I don't know, he's a top 100 SSL player in threes, I think, maybe twos even, I don't know, but every time he asks for tips, pros will like answer his questions, right? And he'll just say like, oh no, that's not true. I'm just not getting, like, he just says like, I'm unlucky or something. But in my opinion, like, there's no luck involved. Like, it's all hard work. And if you're not trying to, and if people are trying to tell you to play a certain way and like your play style is maybe outdated, like, I don't know, you should probably listen.
Yeah, that's huge.
Mentality is so big. Because yeah, like I said, especially the new gen of players that are trying to go pro, like you're gonna face a lot of setbacks. Like you're gonna fail to qualify for tournaments. You're gonna get knocked out early. But if you have a weak mental, you'll probably just end up quitting or retiring. So yeah, definitely the mental thing. That's huge.
Yeah,
like I could have quit after RLCS season 3 after I didn't qualify for Pro League. I could have easily just quit there, but I stayed with my team and we grinded it out, and then we made it season 4. You know, so.
That's huge. That's huge value. And so then I went into this question, because this is like the money question, and this is what everybody wants. Literally, this is the money question. This is what everybody wants to know. So then I asked him, is it worth it to go pro?
Oh, that's tricky. I don't know. It's really hard to like. I don't know what to tell people that want to go pro necessarily, because I'm not dumb. Like, it's only like a tiny amount of people that can actually do it. So if you ask other pros, they'll probably say like, oh, unless you're like a 15-year-old or 16-year-old like cracked kid, you should probably quit. But I don't think that's true, and you can prove it with people like Alpha Kept. Like, I think you should definitely believe in yourself, but like, I'm not gonna tell everybody they're gonna make it, because it's really hard, you know.
Right. No, that's totally fair. And so I said, when you were starting out, like, how much were you making? And he said, when I signed my first org contract and we joined this first org, right out of qualifying for RLCS, when he got those first set of offers, he said at that time in Rocket League, he said a top 8 team, you could be expecting to make $2K a month. And for those of you, just to put that to perspective, like $2K a month, that's $24,000 a year. Like, that is significantly below minimum wage, right? You could make more like doing a minimum wage job, you know, of course, depending on where you're living. And I was like, so at that time, you know, it was kind of just supplemental income for you. You weren't doing it full time. He basically said, yeah, at that time he was balancing college and balancing gaming. But then I asked him, how much do you make now? And I was like, how much? And I could tell he's a little uncomfortable answering, because he's a little bit scared to answer a question like this. I said, you know, so like a top 8 RLCS team, like now, how much could a top 8 team, you know, you're a starter on a top 8 NA team, how much could you expect to make a month? And he said, 8 to 10K a month. 8 to 10K a month. And so what does that actually look like? That looks like, you know, if we scale that out, like being conservative, that's a 6-figure income, right? That's $100,000 over the course of 12 months if you're competing. And that's just the org contract, right? That like bear in mind, that's just how much you're making from representing the org, right? And I'm sure there are some like profit shares, like for example, if you win a tournament, right? Or if you get prize money, that's added on. Brand sponsorship, that's an add-on. Content creation, that's an add-on. And so now, you know, now that he's climbed to the very, very top, he told me he was making a tough decision. He didn't know whether or not to continue with university or to go down the path of pursuing this. So it's interesting to me to hear that, because basically that's exactly what he was talking about. He was saying, yeah, I basically decided, hey, I can come back to university, I can come back to college when I want, my spot is going to be here, right? But being a professional player in this game, right, and competing at the level that he was able to compete at once he got that offer, that's a once in a lifetime thing. And at the time he's like, yeah, I wasn't even thinking much about the money. He was thinking about like, look, this is like a once in a lifetime thing. He got to travel, right? And he said traveling and just being able to compete at LANs and just the feeling of being on stage and what that actually meant. He said for him, he didn't even really care about the money. The money was kind of the means to the end. It's how he could justify going out and doing it, right? But if he could do it just for the experience, he said he would. So like if somebody came to you now and let's say like they're, you know, plat or diamond or champ, you know, in those like kind of middle ranks, let's say, what would you tell them to follow that you did that you think, yeah, you should absolutely still do? And what did you do that you're like, no, please don't do this?
I would play only 1s and 2s until you're like, honestly, in the like grind champ ranks, or maybe like champ 3. And then at that point, I'm not sure what the ranks are for RL 6-mans, but I would definitely join RL 6-mans and play like organized 3s, you know what I mean? Like that's just so much, like those 3 schemes will be way better than ranked 3s if you do want to work on your like 3v3 part of your game.
You think it's more efficient to go that route?
Yeah, honestly, it's literally just play 1s and 2s, and then when you get high enough, add in 6-mans into the rotation. You'll learn how to calm with the team and like LT shout up play properly.
Right.
So it's just way better.
And so that leads me to the final point, which is like, right, is it worth it to be pro? I guess what I realized, like talking to this professional player, what it did was it actually opened my eyes and expanded my view and made me realize this is even more of a complicated question than I thought it was. But talking to him, it made me realize, like, is it worth it to be pro? It really depends on who you are and what you want to do and what your goals are. He said for him, it was a once in a lifetime thing. And he knew that whether or not, you know, this was something he did long term, or whether or not he went back to school, or whether or not, you know, he was a professional in the scene for, you know, 12 months or 12 years, he said it's something that he had to try and that he would have regretted doing. And that's the thing for me. Like when I'm thinking about, you know, making these decisions about, you know, one day being able to do YouTube full time, or one day being able to grow and do whatever it may be full time, it's like, don't think about what you'd rather do. Think about what you would regret more. You know, I actually learned this from my mentor, who taught me how to build the coaching program. He was kind of coached me up and showed me what I need to do to build a successful program and get me to where I am now with being able to coach, you know, over 200 players and be able to juggle that with YouTube. And how does that even work, right? How do you even manage that? My mentor, who's taught me a lot of those things, told me humans are motivated doubly to run away from fear as they are, you know, to chase a goal or to chase a dream. And so he said, whenever you're thinking about something that's important to you and you're trying to make a decision between, you know, either or, think about what you would regret more. So that was the conversation I had with a current RLCS player that I was lucky enough to have with a current RLCS player. And I hope that at this point in the video, you found a little bit of value in not just, you know, how to get better faster, but also like what it takes to get better and what kind of person you have to become to be the type of person that can make it at this level. Because he told me, like, not everybody is cut out to do this. But he said if they did, the most important lessons were what we covered today. My name's Luke. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, guys.